I can't figure out how I had this set up last week. So this is how we have it set up this week. Um, Hi, I'm Sarah Peasley. I don't think I ever introduced myself last week. And I uh, would like very much to tell you about so would Sam, the cat is appearing right now live. Um, I'd like to talk to you about some classes that I'm teaching in the next 2 weekends, while at the same time looking at this Facebook. And I'm just trying to figure out blah, blah, blah. I already said that. Okay, don't need to worry about that. Yeah, so Stitches, which is an event. It used to be an event that was held live and in person all across the country. And I have taught for them for, I don't know, 13, I think this, yep, I think this was my 13th year, 2020. Yeah, that's what we say, but we say 2020. Um, yeah, and then, stuff happened and then we weren't teaching live. And now they have started Stitches at home and Stitches Expo at home. So if you're familiar with Stitches, Stitches Expo at home is what the Stitches events used to be, where it's a weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which is a little bit shorter, with a market and demonstrations and classes with a bunch of your favorite teachers, including me. So I taught for Stitches Expo at home in November, earlier this month. And next is this coming weekend and the following weekend. If you're familiar with the Camp Stitches, that's sort of like the Camp Stitches, except, hi Anna, thank you. Yay, people are watching. So it's kind of like Camp Stitches, except it's 2 weekends. I have absolutely no idea how it works. The teacher meeting is tomorrow night, so then I'll know how it works. But I just wanted to let you know what I'll be teaching over 2 events, 2 weekends. 10 hours. My class is going to be 10 hours, and I get to teach you all about Entrelac. I've done a lot of basic Entrelac classes over the years, both at Woven Art, where the yarn shop in East Lansing, where I teach, or used to teach in person, where I work as shop girl, my alter identity, and also for Stitches and other events. But if you know who Gwen Bortner is, she was like the Entrelac queen. She still is, but she's her business is morphing into more of a consulting business for entrepreneurs. So I get to carry the Entrelac mantle for a while anyway. So that's exciting to me. And not only do I get to carry the Entrelac mantle, but I get to teach it for 10 hours in the next 2 weekends. So what we're going to do today is I'm just going to show you some things that you can do with Entrelac, because I fell in love with it. I couldn't figure it out. I took 2 classes, 3, I think, three before it clicked. And then I designed a sweater. That was the first thing I did in Entrelac, besides taking classes. So once it clicks, it is super fun and repetitive and addicting. Addictive, one of those words, and I don't know which one. And I always have Entrelac going. And when I started gathering things for the class, I'll be 10-hour class, 5 2-hour sessions, not 10 hours all in a row. Who wants to do that? I found all these other projects that I had started that I haven't finished. I have a few, and so I'm going to show those to you. I haven't even looked in the bags, so I think I know what's in there, but we'll find out. But anyway, so the next 2 weekends, I don't know what the dates are. Tomorrow's the 1st. Do I want to do this live? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. 1, 2, 3, 4. So December 5th, there you go, 5th and 6th. And on the 5th, I'll be teaching 2 2-hour sessions. One is from, I think it's noon to 2:10, or no, it's 11 to 1:10. And then another one is like later in the evening. I don't know. Everything's in Central Time on their website, and I at least figured the first one out, so I'm good. And then that Sunday, the 6th, I'm teaching the same time slot, the whatever I just said, 11:10 to 1. No, 12, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's 11:10 to 1. You'd think I'd know. No, it's 11 to 1:10. It might be that. If anybody wants to figure it out and put it in the comments, that would be amazing. I thought I should look that up, and then I didn't look that up. Anyway, I'm teaching the same time slot, Friday the 5th, Saturday, nope. Saturday the 5th, Sunday the 6th, and then Saturday the 12th and Sunday the 13th. Same time slot with one extra class that first Friday in the evening. Oh my gosh. Yeah, me and figuring out what day and time it is, not a good idea. So we're going to start with very basic Entrelac. And I had piles here just a minute ago. Huh. There they are. And usually in my Entrelac classes, we make a swatch. There's directions for 2 swatches, but we make one. So this is Entrelac. This is what Entrelac is. It's French. It means interlace. So it's interlace, think basket weave. It's really like basket weave. So each color that you see, so that dark, that's a purple, of course. Those are stitches those are triangles. The stitches in those triangles are leaning the direction of my finger, whatever way that's pointing for you. They're leaning to the right. If you can see that. In the next tier, there's like squares or rectangles or diamonds, however you want to see those. And those stitches are leaning to the left, the columns of stitches. And then the next tier, we call it a tier, T-I-E-R, is leaning to the right and then left. And then the top tier is leaning to the right. So it's alternating tiers that lean one way and then the next way. And it's super cool. Once you figure that out, that's all it is. There's lots of there's some picking up of stitches, which you get really used to, and there is a lot of SSK and P2 tog, a lot of and some K2 tog and some SSP, but a lot of decreases and a lot of picking up. But it's the same damn increases and the same damn picking up all the time. You can learn, let's see, to knit backwards if you want. That's one of the things that I will help you with. You can learn to have beautiful fabrics. So we're going to talk about, this is obviously contrasty fabrics. You can use one beautiful yarn. This is a beautiful yarn, Happy Fuzzy yarn. It's a sport weight. She is not dyeing yarn anymore, but 2 of my samples are from her beautiful yarn. And can you see the entrelac going on? So that's a variegated yarn. So you get the pretty yarn that's accentuating the squares. And here's another one of hers. This is a fingering weight. And I think the color name is July Garden, but that doesn't matter. And this is done in garter stitch. So it can go, you can use different stitch patterns. You can use 2 colors. I'll show you these more later, but you can just use 2 colors of yarn and just keep alternating. There's a cat and dog fight going on off to the side. You can probably hear that. This is 1 color of Noro. I'll tell you the history of this sweater in a minute. Let's see. So, you can choose to do, you can showcase a yarn, or you can showcase a bunch of yarns or some color play, or you can showcase something else. Do you remember, if you're older, yeah. If you're hi, did you chase the bad kitty? Okay. Clara is the victor, apparently. She's going to guard me now. There used to be something called an oddball sweater, and I believe it was done in like a V shape or a chevron shape. So you had this big V across your chest or a big chevron across your chest. And you could use any yarn you want, and people put feathered yarns in. This was back when we had this is actually before we had all the fun fur and eyelash yarns, and you could just pick any yarns you wanted to make this crazy sweater. The point being, you could do that with Entrelac. Every square could be a different yarn. It doesn't matter. Knock yourself out. You have 8,000 more ends to weave in, so that's your choice. I'm not judging. Yeah. So I'm totally judging if you have feathers in your sweaters, but it's okay. Judging in a good way, right? There's no wrong in knitting. So what I want to show you, that's the thing that we start with, and that's what was in my normal short, like 3-hour, 2-hour chunk Entrelac classes. And so that's what we would start with again. And oops, that's a different one, isn't it? Where did I put the first one? Did I toss it aside? Maybe. Yep. Okay, so the first one had purple and leaned all the certain directions and is upside down. And the second one has blue instead and leans the other directions and is also upside down. So I'll put them sort of side by side or top to bottom. And you can see maybe like the red ones are leaning the other way. So the red and the gray ones are either left or right leaning. So they're kind of the same in either one. But the tops and the sides lean the opposite way on the opposite pieces. So these two pieces that we start with will teach you all the different building blocks that you need. The left and right rectangles in the middle, and the left and right top, bottom, and side triangles, beginning and ending side triangles, leading in both directions. So this is the first thing we'll do in the classes that are the coming up weekends. And if you already know that, that's fine. You'll just, there's a lot of different ways you can do things in Entrelac, different likes and dislikes, just like with any kind of knitting. You know, you might have decreases you like better than other decreases, whatever. So the way I'm teaching it is the way I like to do it, partly because it's mostly how I learned, but I'm also going to give you variations because you'll see variations if you work from other people's Entrelac patterns. So part of the class, the different versions are that the different sessions are that we'll try different features, different ways to do different parts of the Entrelac. But so here's some of the things that we'll talk about. Flat, Entrelac worked flat is a little bit different. There's different things to consider when you work Entrelac in the round. And I have a very tiny little thing that was worked in the round. It could be a cuff. It could be a sweater for your, I don't know, guinea pig. But what it turns into, if we felt it, is so Gwen Bortner had a pattern that she used to teach from, and it might have been called Cup of Joe or Java Sleeve or something like that. I don't remember. And with her permission, I tweaked it a little bit, and I'm calling it Cup of Earl because I'm a tea drinker instead of a coffee drinker. So like Earl Grey, get it? Cup of Earl. So this is one thing we'll do is practice working in the round, and we can learn to felt if we have time. And there's another really cool thing about this 2-week format is that after we finish the first weekend, you have a week before the second weekend, and so I can assign you homework. So there will be homework, which will basically be making more swatches, just like the ones you already made, so that we have things to work on the second weekend. New things that we can work on. And new things that we're going to work on include necklines, how to shape. So for example, let's look at this one. This is the one I made, the first one I designed after I had taken 3 classes. But here's a sleeve, and do you notice that the sleeve is getting smaller? It's shaped, but there's the same number of blocks. So basically you just make smaller blocks, but we will practice that. Another thing that you will learn is that you are stuck with the parameters of the blocks, the rectangles and the triangles. So, for example, this is a pattern by a company called Haute Couture. I don't know if these are still in existence, but I actually have my hands on them today. So these were really well done. Oh, there's a lot of notes too. These patterns were really well done, and it's glossy. This is a tuxedo vest, and notice, so it's a V-neck, and it has the V, what do you call, points at the bottom of the fronts. And then it has, gosh, I'm having trouble lining things up. It has set-in sleeve holes, armholes, even though there's no sleeves. So look at the V-neck. The V has to follow the line of the rectangles or squares. So it can only be on a 45-degree angle. And the same with those points down here. Where's my finger? Down here, the point is the point of one of the rectangles. And then along the side, it's that 45-degree angle again. You cannot do anything but a 45 or a 90-degree angle. You can't do half a triangle. That's just where you're stuck. So here's the vest I did. This was in some brown sheep hand paints and some, I don't know, there's mohair in it because it's really fuzzy. And once again, I have samples that are black, but you can see that this is the point at the bottom of the front. And so the point is down here at the base of this red and green uh, rectangle or square or diamond. And then the rest of the V follows the line of the squares. There you go. Whoops, over this way. And then the neck, again, follows the line. See how it lines up with the sides of the V's or the squares? And then it goes straight for a little bit, and that's where you're getting a triangle. So that's the kind of thing we'll talk about the second weekend, is the shaping that you can do to get neck lines. It doesn't have to be a V. This one has a round neck, and then I put a turtleneck in it. And I used, here's the story about this one. So here's the back neck. It's just straight across. So there's no, oh, I guess there's one little, it's like one square deep, and then it goes straight across, and then there's one square going back up to the shoulder. So there is a little back neck shaping. And then the front neck is a little deeper. You can see it's straight across for 2 triangles, and then goes up 1, 2, 3. So it's 3 squares, not really deep, but on the bias. Isn't it? Kelly says shaping an entrelac is so nifty. It's nifty. I like, because I took a lot of math. I was sort of a math major, and I'm also an editor, so words and numbers are amazing to me. Magical, except there's a right answer, so I like the fact that I just have to find it. But thank you for mentioning that, Kelly. Oops, had to pull that out from under the dog. Wanted to make a V-neck cardigan, and I really wanted a deep V, but no, you can only have the 45-degree angle. So this is the 45-degree angle. Ooh, I can see through. And I put a zipper in. That's exciting. Oh, we'll just pause for the commercial announcement that on December 19th, I am so bad with dates. December 19th, I am teaching a class, not at Stitches, but just in my same studio, but as Sarah Peasley hand knitter, just all by myself, buttons and zippers for 2 hours on December 19th. And there's information about that on my website, Sarah Peasley. No, there's not. On my Facebook business page, Sarah Peasley Hand Knitter. We're working on getting it on my website, which is sarahpeasley.com. Newsletter. Very exciting. You can sign up there. So this is the, can we see the, this is a yarn from, I'm going to go with Blue Heron. I don't remember. Is that a company? And this one, I was disappointed because I really wanted the V to be deeper, but it just can't be deeper. You are stuck with the parameters. You can see that as a good thing because there's not a lot of choices to make, or you can see it as a bad thing because you can't make any choices, as many choices. So this was the first thing. The classes I took were from Joan Schrouder, who's retired from teaching, and also Sidna Farley, who has passed away. She had a daughter named Sarah in school at Michigan State. So our guild got her to, whenever she came to visit her daughter, we'd have her come hang out and teach classes and join our knit-in. So that was pretty fun. And I think I took 2 classes with her and 1 with Joan, and then something, it was like, oh, that's what they're talking about. And then I know I was on the way home from a Stitches, I think, with my friend Irene, and I just started like planning my sweater, and this is the sweater I made. Now, a problem is that I used an acrylic yarn. It might have had some wool, but I think it's mostly acrylic. And I didn't, this was before I was on board with the whole swatching thing, or maybe the blocking thing. So I probably swatched. I don't have a swatch, which leads me to believe I did not swatch because I save all my swatches, but it got really big. This was a maternity sweater. It wasn't supposed to be a maternity sweater, but it was a really good maternity sweater. It's very large. Like, I could just wear it because it's really big, but I could also wear it when I was really big. Yeah, so that's fun. And then I wanted to make, I bought a pattern from a different company, and I fell in love with this. This is Sarah James. It's called Entrelac Jacket. She names things just as amazingly as I do. And look at all that entrelac. Isn't that pretty? When I started looking at the pattern, though, She has nice directions with all the little, you know, here's where you do what. But this is made out of rectangles of Entrelac. So the sleeves are each a rectangle, the fronts are each a rectangle, and the back, which you can't see, is a bigger rectangle. And then what you can't see because of the way it's photographed is that under the arms, the shaping under the arms and also the shaping along the sides are all seed stitch. So it's not in fact an Entrelac jacket, it's an Entrelac panel jacket put together with seed stitch. And I was so pissed. I was like, I know how to do that. So I did. So this looks remarkably like that. My button's done. Oh, good. Let me just get the Sarah hair out of there and fold the collar down. I love this sweater. This is the one that was on this event photographed. So this is basically that sweater, at least it looks like it. Whoop. But it's all Entrelac, and the shaping is done in the Entrelac, just like that red sweater. And guess what? There are no seams. Even the shoulder, the top of the shoulder is just Entrelac right over the top. And that's another thing we'll learn the second weekend. And so that's why you have to make swatches in between. It's so that's a little fussy. And I just map everything out, and then I knit the map, just like a schematic. But it's really satisfying, and it's beautiful. This is Nora Silk Garden that I bought, and I did actually swatch, and I did actually block my swatches. They're here somewhere. But now there's no but. And, no but, there's a but. This colorway, you know, purples are my thing. I was kind of leery of the green, but actually green is now my thing too. But there's a crap ton of brown in this, but there was more. So I gave myself permission for like the first time ever to edit out parts of the yarn I didn't like. So somewhere I have a bag of little balls of brown. Wherever I left some in, there's lots of brown there still. But I was like, yeah, I don't want this brown in here. So I edited out. That was exciting to learn. Although these days I'm leaving things in that I'm not super fond of because it's a growing process. It's making me be, I don't know, a better person. And then I made the blue one with the V, and I put a zipper in because I don't want to make the same thing over and over. This one, the yarn was heavily hand-dyed, and the first, I don't know, it probably is still happening. Hi, Edie. Well, every time I've washed it, the water turns blue. So I just soak this all by itself. When it's dry, it's fine. And it's also a really heavy yarn. I can't remember what it's made out of. I'm going to go with rayon. It's called Seeds. Interlacements, that's who it was, not Blue Heron. It was called Seeds from Interlacement, and it's heavy. And so it got longer, and the color was bleeding. I don't remember if it bled on my hands crocked when I was knitting the thing. But and then the V wasn't as deep as I wanted, and I sewed in my zipper. I did pretty well, but I don't like this. This is not my favorite sweater. And one day, I don't know what possessed me, but I put it on and I wore it to run some errands, and I got so many compliments from people who were not knitters. They're like, "Oh my gosh, that sweater is amazing." I'm like, "Oh, why, thank you. I made it myself." So, you know, it's fine. It's not my favorite sweater. But one person, it's not trash, but one person's trash is another person's treasure. But I keep everything, I think, because they're all good teaching moments. And there's a lot of stuff I did differently in here, as far as the shaping. Same sleeves, tapered down, same shoulders, no seams. There was a Vogue knitting magazine that had an Entrelac sweater on the cover. It was ivory. And they pictured the model like this, and there was this very obvious seam down the middle, and all of the people who knew how to do the Entrelac shoulders were like aghast. You don't need to seam Entrelac. You can, it's okay, but it doesn't look as nice as if you don't seam it. Other things just to show you, where did that one go? Probably in my lap. No. Nope. Okay. I won't show you that yet. Oh, here it is. Ha! It was in my lap. Surprise. So this is, so my son, well, my children, both of my sons, went to Hazlitt High School, which the colors are blue and gold. Um, I don't know if you know that I'm very close to East Lansing right now, and I went to Michigan State. The colors are not blue and gold. Those are the colors of University of Michigan, just up the road an hour. Um, so this is actually taboo here in this part of the country. Don't tell anybody. But it's Hazlitt. It's Hazlitt colors. Do you see? Let's see. Man, this is, I'm mirror image, so it's really bizarre. Here, the blue is showing underneath the gold. The way that I was taught to do Entrelac involved slipping the first stitch of every row. I don't always do that anymore, but I do it a lot because it makes it a lot more brainless. You don't have to think as hard when you're picking up your stitches. And that's what we will start with as we're learning, because it's like training wheels, but training wheels you don't want to take off. And one of the things we'll learn, I think the second day, is how to not have that happen. So this other one that I showed you doesn't have that happening. Magic. Always upside down. Nope, not upside down. So that's one of the things that we'll learn here, by the way. He got a pillow in Hazlitt colors. Hi, Marcia. Entrelac is firm enough so you can get away without. Yes. She's asking if you don't have to have shoulder seams to provide structure for the garment. Like any garment without a firm seam, it will grow probably a little bit. The Noro one has not been a problem at all. It's not super heavy. It's gone. Oh, I put it in this bin so I wouldn't lose it. That's this one. And whoops, I undid the buttons. And this one is super heavy, so that's probably part of why it got longer. That's a really good question, by the way. But also, you've got the structure of the picked up stitches and the decreases that are kind of holding the shape. Ooh, this is our gang sign for Entrelac, by the way. Some friends and I are coming up with knitter gang signs, and I think that's Entrelac. We have plaid, Entrelac. I can't remember what else we have. Yeah, fun with knitters. Yeah, and then this one's really lightweight because it's acrylic. So plus it just grew because it was acrylic. But thank you for asking that question. Yeah, so we're going to learn about flawless color changes, I like to call them. And that's going to be, I believe, the second day. And then I wanted to show you, oh, here's another, well, so I have these pillows. That's another one. Okay. Those were for my son. He doesn't live here anymore. He didn't take his Hazlitt pillows. He also didn't go to U of M. He went to Grand Valley. We never knit anything in Grand Valley colors. So I just want to show you a few other things that can be done with Entrelac. I did not design this. Gwen Bortner designed it. She is a nutso crazy talented designer when it comes to Entrelac. And fun story, I only made one, by the way. I was like, okay, it works. I don't need to make a second one. But it's perfect. The gussets, it fits perfectly. This is probably available on her website. No, it's not, because she's doing other things. Go to Ravelry, look for Gwen Bortner. I'm going to type it into the comment. And it's probably available on her Ravelry page. So there you go. But yeah, that was a pretty brilliant one. So here's my fun story. And I might have said this last week. I don't know who was here last week, but her Entrelac book, Explorations in Entrelac. Oh, look, I happen to have it right here. Oh, Entree to Entrelac. Sorry, Explorations in Entrelac is my class. How quickly we forget. So Entree to Entrelac. This book, which was published by XRX Books, which is XRX is the company that puts on the Stitches events, which is the whole point of today. Please sign up for my class. I have some openings. I'd like to fill them. They called me and said, we're working on Gwen's Entree to Entrelac book. Would you like to help us edit it? And I'm like, I don't know what that means. And now I've been editing for like, I don't know, 10 or 11 years because they asked me that question. So yeah. So yeah, Gwen's Entrelac book was my first editing gig. I really had no idea what I was doing. But people still hire me, so I must have done okay. So that's her design. That's not in the book. She does have slippers in the book and a variety of sweaters. I actually knit, because I did some sample knitting too. I knit that sweater. Ooh, it's brown. Did you see that it's brown? It's okay to work with brown if you don't have to keep the thing. This is another haute couture pattern I just wanted to show you. It's a cute little purse. There's a handle that's tucked inside. But what's happening here that's different is that the squares alternate between garter stitch, the blue ones, and seed stitch, the silver ones. And notice that they get smaller at the top. And so the bag is shaped. So that's another example of the, hi Liz, how are you? Oh, that's another example of the shaping. It doesn't just have to be for sleeves. And let's look in the bags and just see what I have going, and maybe I'll get them going again while I'm teaching the next 2 weekends. And then that's going to be it for today. If you'd like to sign, oh, this is barely started, but I can tell you what it's going to be. If you'd like to sign up for the class, it's going to be, you want to go to the, oh boy, Kelly, are you there? Can you type it in the thing? It's Stitches Events, I believe is the website. And this one is called Stitches at Home. Stitches at Home is like the camp that takes 2 weekends. Nice to hear, Liz, that you're hanging in there. Same as all of us. So Stitches at Home is the 2-weekend event, and Stitches Expo at Home is like the ones we did at the convention centers that are 1 weekend. And those are Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But this one coming up, if you go to Stitches Events, oh, thank you, Kelly. There's Gwen's Entrelac glove pattern. Edited by yours truly, by the way. This is just some little entrelac. This is in, it's Malabrigo Machita. I don't know how to say it. It's the one, it's like sock weight, but it's not, oh, hi, Fran. You know, you're going to have to talk to XRX about that. She's asking if I will offer this class again. The next one that I'm doing in January, which is also the 2-weekend event, is called From Start to Finish, and we're making a little sweater that is over there on my desk. We're going to make a little sweater, and we're going to talk about all the things that will make finishing easier, and we're going to finish it, and it's going to look amazing. So that's next time. Thank you, Kelly. Oh, look, Stitches Events. I was sort of right. There's a dot in there. But, you know, after that, I would hope that they'd keep offering it, because I really, really like Entrelac. And I'd love to teach it to you. But ask them. That's the best way, is they're the ones who pick the classes. So go ahead and ask XRX, Elaine and Rick, Mavis. You can put it, there's if you're taking classes, so you're probably part of the Facebook group. You can put it on there again also. Okay, thanks for asking though. Yes, I'd love to teach it again. What are you taking? Tell me what you're taking instead. Who did I lose to? Once I lost to Elton John. I was teaching at Interlochen, and which is a adult creative arts college / kids art camp / boarding school that's 3 hours north of me. And one of my students didn't make it to the class, and she emailed and said, "I'm really sorry, but I had tickets to see Elton John." I'm like, okay, it's fine. It's fine. If you have to go see Elton John, I understand. So this is Machita, the singles fingering weight from Malabrigo. Singles meaning it's basically 1 ply. And what I want to make is a kid sweater. So this was going to be, I forget, probably a little cardigan. I think it was going to be a little version of the Noro sweater that I like so much that's on the picture on the event here. But I had an epiphany last week that this was going to look different. I think I'm going to make it easier. We're not going to have the fancy shoulders. We're going to do it as a kid sweater, make it accessible, and do just the button tabs so that there's no shoulder seams, but there'll be shoulder like garter stitch or seed stitch or something, and then buttons, so that you can just shove it on the kid and button it shut. And if he has a big noggin, it won't matter. So that's as far as I am. That's called a swatch. I will tell you, I don't like, this is my, I guess I do have a Chow-Gu needle. I didn't even know that. Because this is one of those, but this is too tight, so this is as far as I got, and I threw it in the bag, and I just took it out, and that's where we stand with that one. And this one is another, yep, this is basically another scarf, like I showed you the purple and green one, but it's also basically the sample from, didn't I do that? Marsha, yes. Can I do it? Okay. Hi, Marsha. Again, Marsha, who's popping in there, she took my finishing class 1,000 years ago, no offense, when I was teaching at Yarn for You, a shop that's no longer in town here, but that was the first place that asked me to teach. And I taught the little sweater class. It's the same damn class, Marcia. And we made the little sweaters. And at the end of the class, Marcia said, I want to go home and take apart everything I've ever put together and put it back together again now that I know all this stuff. And I will never forget that. Yeah, that was great. I will not, that was so much, that was, it makes you feel good when people actually appreciate the things that you're teaching them. And that was early in my teaching career. So that was super fun. Thanks. Hi, Maria. How are you? So this is 3 squares and 2 triangles, or 4 squares if you're looking at the red across. 1, 2, 3. Oh, damn it. I thought this was 2, but this is 5. This is just one wider, but this is that same square. So my point here is that after you've learned at least the first weekend's worth of stuff, you can pick some pretty yarn. And as a matter of fact, I think that might be one of the homework things is if you have some pretty yarn, go ahead and start a scarf and just knit, knit, knit until you run out of yarn, and then you'd have a scarf. Similar to this one. That's what I did. This is the same thing. This one was kind of short because I didn't have a lot of the yarn and it was hand dyed and I couldn't get any more that would look the same. So that's that project. And then the other project is, the blue and, no, not blue. Yeah, the blue and gold pillows that I showed you. Well, back in the day, when my friend Nancy owned Woven Art, which is the shop where I teach, I decided to make the pillows for grown-ups instead of having school colors. And I chose this yarn from Diacato, and I believe, yeah, this is all one colorway. It's kind of like Noro. It was a Japanese yarn. I don't know if Diacato exists anymore. It might under a different distributor, but then I paired it with, I really haven't looked in these bags. Yeah, so here's the bolster that's been very well loved, so it's not really round anymore. I think I got the bolster pillow at Bed Bath & Beyond with my coupon long time ago. My kids are no longer in high school. That particular child is going to be 30 in 2021. But this is that same pillow done with that Diacato yarn. Diamuse, D-I-A-M-U-S-E-E maybe is the name. I made that up. And the ends, this is some yarn that was hand dyed by Nancy McCrae, who used to own Woven Art and owned it at the time. So this is that same pillow. And oh, look, there's a zipper in it. And look how beautifully that's put in. December 19th, buttons and zippers with Sarah Peasley right here in my Zoom studio. And then to match, I did a big one, so to speak, with alternating the Diacato with Nancy's hand-dyed yarn. And this one will have a zipper. I mean, I was working on this when she owned the shop, which is 1,000 years ago. So here's the zipper. Perhaps I could do this during my button and zipper class. And then I did one with just the hand dye. And the backs, I didn't show you the backs, are really pretty because I used the other yarn and did diagonal garter stitch. Isn't that gorgeous? And I mean, that knitting is so much fun because it's so beautiful. Here, see, here's this one too. I just went to town with garter stitch. Garter stitch is your friend, especially in 2020, let me just tell you. So, but, I was trying to do it to make a pattern and, oh, yeah, here we go. And then that yarn wasn't available anymore, which is part of my curse as a designer, is that every time I pick a yarn, it gets discontinued. So I had found this Gina. I went to, one of the times I was teaching an Interlock, and I went to Knitology, which is in, there's a weird, it's called Chubb's Corner or something like that. Weird like redneck name, but it's in a nice little, suburby type retail area. And it was a great shop. It's moved since then to the back of the building that I saw it in, but it had a nice community feel to it. And it was just starting out, didn't have a ton of yarn, but they had this Gina yarn from Plymouth. And so this has that same, I'm going to make the same pillows out of this. I'm all about the rainbows these days. So I'm going to make another version. And you know what's going to happen? If it's not already, this yarn is going to get discontinued. I can guarantee it. But that's what this is a bag of that yarn that I bought. And they put it in this bag. And I haven't looked at it since. So that is what I have. I'm hoping that Nick! How are you? Hey, Nick, you should post some Christmas music. I don't know if you've posted anything since that last time that you posted music. Nick is an amazing musician. He's taken some classes from me when Artisan Knitworks, which is now in Chelsea, was in Farmington Hills. I always forget. Chum's Corner. Thank you, Maria. That's like Chub's Corner. Just the buddy of Chub, his chum. Sorry, that was bad. Yeah. So the next 2 weekends coming up, I'm teaching. Thank you. He says consider it done. So there'll be. I'll be sure to share it when I see it. He'll do some beautiful music. Yes. Okay. Okay. So the next 2 weekends, December 5th, 6th, and 12th, 13th. There you go. I'm teaching 10 hours, 5 2-hour sessions of Entrelac. We're going to start with just those rectangles, and we're going to build up to. We're not going to make a whole sweater, but by the end, we will be charting out. Charting meaning you're going to use pencil on a piece of paper and just roughly draw, and just see how you could design your own, simple T-shirt or crazy involved sweater. But it's really not hard. You draw it on a piece of paper and then you knit it just like any schematic, just a tiny bit different for Entrelac. So from beginning to designing with color changes, and some of the things we'll do will have flat edges and some will have zigzags. There'll be different shapes. We'll talk about different yarns. Yeah, I'm excited to share it all with you. So if you'd like to sign up, stitches.events is the website, and I look forward to seeing you in the next 2 weekends. So thanks. It was fun to spend time with you, and nice to see the comments. So I know I'm not talking into the void, although I could totally talk into the void. That would be fine. I'll see you guys later. Bye.